1973. We're very fortunate this evening to have Sorcha Fennel from Trocaire headquarters to speak to us. I invite her to come to address us.
Good evening. My name is Sorcha Fennel, and I'm the Director of the Overseas Work for Trocaire. I'm originally from Connemara and then grew up in Salt Hill, so I'm a Galway person, and lovely to be back here with you this evening. And a beautiful, beautiful cathedral it is. I'd like to thank Bishop Michael Dignan and Father Brendan Lawless, the Trocaire diocesan representative here, for the invitation to be with you. In his absence, I'd also like to recognise the years of contributions that Bishop Emeritus John Kirby provided to Trocaire. He was our chairperson for many years. I was fortunate enough to travel together with him in Honduras in 1998. I was living there at the time, and Bishop Kirby came with several other bishops following Hurricane Mitch to witness the damage and the devastation themselves, and the transformative work that we were also able to undertake. So we're deeply grateful to Bishop Kirby for his many years of service. 50 years ago, Trocaire was established by the Catholic Bishops' Conference of Ireland. And we were given a mission and a mandate that was deeply rooted, as the Bishop just mentioned, in Catholic social teaching and in social justice. At the time, our mandate was set out in a pastoral letter which described the extent and the impact of global poverty. The letter stated clearly that no nation has the right to build its own prosperity upon the misery of others, and that we, in Ireland, are a rich nation to some extent because others are poor. The pastoral letter, which I have to say is really powerful, and we still refer to it. When we're doing our strategy or our planning, we go back to that document, and it was a great gift to us. The pastoral letter set out very clearly the responsibility of Ireland, both the state and its people, to address global injustice. So maybe if you think back to the world in 1973, on the first day of that year, Ireland joined the European Economic Community, Eamon de Valera was president, and Liam Cosgrove became Taoiseach. It was the first year that people in Ireland had full-time colour television. 1973 also saw the United States ending its involvement in the Vietnam War after the signing of the Paris Peace Accords. And I think the bishops envisaged that us joining the European Economic Community was an opportunity for Ireland to bring influence, to raise issues of global injustice in a wider fora. With the advent of television and increasing ease of travel, the world felt smaller, and the poverty and conflict and even famines across many developing countries became more visible and harder to ignore. They were in our sitting rooms. Pope St. Paul at the time directed Catholics, if you want peace, work for justice. And this is exactly what the Bishops of Ireland put into action when they established Trocaire in 1973. They stated that the aim of Trocaire will be twofold. We call it our dual mandate. Abroad, it will give whatever help lies within its resources to the areas of greatest need among developing countries. At home, it will try to make us all more aware of the needs of these countries and of our duties towards them. These duties are no longer a matter of charity, but of simple justice. Really a strong mission to give an organization. 50 years on, our justice mandate remains at the very heart of our identity, and that was soon put into action after Trocaire was established as it campaigned against apartheid in South Africa. The system of apartheid, which forced millions of black South African people into poverty and stripped them of their rights and of their dignity. The organization funded human rights movements and trade unions while lobbying the Irish government to condemn the apartheid regime. Years later, Nelson Mandela thanked Trocaire. He said, "South Africans have a long association with Trocaire, who have not only been staunch opponents of apartheid, but who have also initiated and supported development projects in South Africa since 1977. I've worked for Trocaire for over 25 years, and I've spent nearly 20 of those living overseas. And I have had the privilege of witnessing that mandate come to life across the countries where we work together with our local partners. I have seen the life-saving impact that providing food and health services to the people of Somalia has had. In fact, I met Nasty and her family in Somalia last year when I was there, the family who were on the Lent box, and heard their story of how they had left a rural area after all of their crops and all of their livestock had died. Nearly 3 million livestock have died in Somalia, and that's like the economy collapsing. But I've seen how health services transformed their lives. I've witnessed how the provision of land and new homes transformed the lives of those who lost everything in Hurricane Mitch in Honduras. I've seen the impact of justice being delivered to human rights defenders in Zimbabwe through the provision of legal supports and the power of literacy programs on women in Eastern DRC. While visiting women who participated in that program, I asked them what had the impact of those literacy programs been. A woman stood up and said, "Now I can send a text." Sounds like a very simple thing, but in a context of war in the Eastern Congo and of militia and of high vulnerability of women, being able to read and send a text meant she was safer. To mark our anniversary, President Michael D. Higgins sent a message to Trocaire, and he said, "The distinctive work of Trocaire is its willingness to go beyond immediate humanitarian relief, desperately needed, but to challenge the structural causes of poverty and exclusion." Tackling those structural causes of poverty is critical to finding solutions, and today climate change is one of the most urgent structural issues that needs to be addressed. Millions of people around the world, here in our own country, are impacted. Across Europe we saw the fires, but if you go to southern Malawi and you visit communities, which I did in June this year, who have had their third cyclone in 18 months, never having had cyclones before. And I was sat with the community and they had done a mapping of risks that they faced, resources they had, mitigations they could put in place. The first risk on that document was floods, and the second one was drought. These people do not have cars, they don't have industry in this community. Those who have contributed least to climate change are impacted most by it. And so Trocaire works with these communities to lobby their own governments, but also in Ireland and in Europe to make places like Ireland deliver on their climate commitments. And actually, as I walked in here to the church, or to the cathedral, I saw that I think it's a carbon emission free, having moved to solar panels or something. So that kind of leadership is really great to see. I've been inspired by and in awe of the ability of people in really difficult situations to find the strength to keep going, to persevere, one of Trocaire's values, to find solutions and to overcome. And whether it is Asti and her family in Somalia walking for days to get her child the life-saving support needed, or the people of South Sudan who've endured decades of war, or women in Sierra Leone who support each other to fight for laws that will bring greater equality. All of these people inspire me. They make me feel humble. They give me faith in the human spirit, and they deserve to be acknowledged. The work we deliver is done together with local organizations in the countries where we work. Farmers associations, women's groups, community-based organizations, lawyers, organizations who work with their own communities, who understand their own contexts and who know the best solutions needed. Together with over 300 organizations across the world, we continue to deliver on the mandate that the Irish Bishops' Conference set out 50 years ago. None of that work would be possible without the incredible and unwavering support of the Irish people. Without your support, and when I see that box, I'm always struck by the enormous impact that every single coin that is placed into that box has. I'm blown away by the generosity of the Irish people who give so kindly to Trocaire and who give us trust. It's a really critical thing when you're entrusted with resources with which people hope you will deliver effective and impactful change. We're also hugely grateful for the support of the Bishops' Conference and the diocesan representatives and parish priests across this country who provide support to us just like this evening, and to all of you who are present here this evening. As the pastoral letter said, we shouldn't just consider poverty as a simple situation of circumstance or of charity. We should consider poverty an issue of injustice. And for this, we in Trocaire are grateful. That letter and that pastoral letter and what the bishops of Ireland gave us enables us not to simply address immediate needs, but also to work on and challenge the structural issues that cause poverty, so that we can have that more sustainable, transformative, and equitable development. Míle buíochas as 8 éisteacht le mo nniuh. Gur maith agaibh.